What's going on, everybody? Hi, how you doing? Welcome. What's up, Fire Fam? It's a Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown, the safe space where we set oppression ablaze, and we know that something better come out of this, out of these ashes, out of all these flames. All these systems need to be burned down, built anew, and who else better to do it than us? I'm so happy to see you all in the place to be. What's up, Valley Girls? What's up, Fran and French? What's up, Anna Hart? What's up, Latif? Dawn Gibson in the building. Who else we got up in here? Sugar Booger, of course. Chuck Diesel's in the building. What's up, Celeste? I'm so happy to see y'all. What's up, Queen of the South, Rain the Sun? I'm so happy to see y'all in here. Of course, you guys, I'd like to welcome you to week 2 of our summer fundraiser. And I'm going to be just like NPR. And Pacifica Radio in my begging. So here we go. So guys, this is Black women led independent media. It is 4 of us working on this here program. And how did the 4 of us get to working on this program? Well, we got fired. Well, 3 of us got fired. My Molly hung around a little bit, but fuck it, 4 of us got fired. Let's just rock with that. And so here we are on these YouTube streets trying to bring you important stories that matter to you, to your community, and give it to you from the perspective outside and absolutely to the far, far left of the mainstream media. So here's what I need you to do. If you like what we do here, please consider donating to us this week, the final week of our summer fundraiser. We have a lot of different ways you can get at us. We're really partial to Patreon. We love our Patreon people. And if you want to get in and become a monthly recurring supporter of Burn It Down with Kim Brown on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/BIDWKB. You guys, we have tiers as low as $2 a month, $5 a month, $7 a month, whatever basically you can afford. We'd certainly appreciate it. And if you want to make a one-time donation, you can feel free to do that here through YouTube via Super Chats or on Cash App at $BIDWKB, at Venmo at BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB. No amount is too small. And in fact, I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Your free support is also very much appreciated. I'm so grateful that people show up, participate in our chat. They hit like on the video. I said they hit like on the video and subscribe. And by the way, guys, we are only just a few subscribers short of reaching 2,100 channel subscribers. I'm very excited about that. So if you have not already subscribed to Burn It Down with Kim Brown, go ahead and push that subscribe button for your homie. I appreciate it. And everyone who has already donated, y'all are my bestest friends. I love y'all so much for showing up, showing love, and thank you in advance, and thank you in the past for your previous support, and we want to keep it going. So thank you all so much. So anyway, coming up with the program today, guys, we've got some things to discuss, okay? Because Black women is out here in these streets, and we are out here in these political streets as well. Did you see Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush's protest over the weekend? Cori Bush slept outside on the steps of the U.S. Capitol along with some other members of the squad to protest Congress being recessed while the federal eviction moratorium expired, and leaving millions of people vulnerable to evictions. And guys, in a lot of places, the evictions have already begun. So Cori Bush took some action. Now, I've seen some people, and I don't know about these comments, but someone left a comment over on Instagram saying, oh, I saw Cori Bush in AOC's Emmy award-winning performance sleeping out there. Why ain't they do something in Congress? Well, we've got answers for that. And we're going to be joined a little bit later in the program with justice journalist, independent journalist, Chuck Modiano. Chuck Modiano was in D.C., down at the Capitol. He interviewed not only Cori, but he interviewed Ilhan Omar, he interviewed Anna Presley, he interviewed Jamal Bowman, he interviewed people who showed up for the protests. We're going to get his take on Cori Bush's protest. Was it a statement or a stunt? Maybe it was a mix of both. We'll get into that. Y'all hold them comments. Y'all hold tight. We coming right to that in a bit. We're also going to discuss, guys, It's election day. God damn it. Cuyahoga County, stand up. Where you at? Cleveland, what's happening? We need y'all to turn out today, baby. The polls close at 7:30. And if you want to get Nina Turner into Congress, today is the day to do that. But the Democratic establishment has literally poured millions of dollars into this Ohio 11th congressional district race, the race to replace Marcia Fudge. Of course, this is the Democratic primary, but whoever wins the primary pretty much can crip walk their way into that congressional seat, and it's tightened up quite a bit. And I'm concerned. I'm gonna be straight up. I love Nina. I want Nina to win. I want Nina to succeed. And the fact that James Clyburn and the like are so against Nina, that just makes me that much more for her, right? That gives me validation that clearly we're supporting the right candidate if all these coon-ass, establishment-ass Democrats are in her opposition. So we're going to talk about that Ohio 11th race. But and at the end of the show, guys, I have two updates about stories that we've been covering here on Burn It Down with Kim Brown. A settlement has been reached with Korryn Gains' family in Baltimore County. Y'all know Korryn Gains, the 23-year-old Black woman who was murdered by Baltimore County police. Her 5-year-old son at the time was shot alongside of her. He survived, but her family was awarded a multi-million-dollar settlement from a judge, and Baltimore County has refused to pay. But that has now changed. I will have an update about that towards the end of the show. Also an update regarding the story that we have been following now for weeks, from that June 30th blast that happened in South Central Los Angeles, where the Los Angeles Police Department, in all their incompetence, in all their dereliction of duty. What's the other joint? Depraved indifference. That's one of them, the joints they roll out of Law and Order. Depraved and fucking difference. They, as of now, a result of this blast, 2 people have died. Their families say that they have died in connection to the blast. So we'll have an update about that towards the end of the show. But I wanted to start us off real quick. What's up, everybody? Hey, where we at? I see we got 50 in the chat. I see we got 34 likes. And ladies and gentlemen, that math is not mathing. So let's get them likes up. Chuck Diesel, tell these people what to do out here, man. Let's get these likes up, y'all. Because as we set off the show, I can't help but to talk about COVID. Because, gang, here we are. August the 3rd. I hope y'all about to get stocked up on your toilet paper and all your necessities, because hey, we might be locked down in about 30 to 60 to 90 days, dog. It's not looking cute out here for this COVID virus and this Delta variant. And in the midst of the United States experiencing, which I believe they're calling a fourth surge, a fourth wave of COVID, the Delta variant being highly transmissible, the Delta variant is absolutely out here jumping on unvaccinated people and apparently jumping on vaccinated people as well, which freaks me out a little bit. Although, let the scientists tell it that people who have been vaccinated and who are experiencing some of these breakthrough infections are dealing with very mild symptoms. Okay, cool. All right, I don't want that shit. Period, point blank. I do not want COVID. And you guys, shout out to everybody. Now, listen, we all live, well, first of all, the United States of America is a very ignorant country. Ignorant in so many ways, right? Ignorant to science, ignorant to history, ignorant to anthropology, ignorant to all kinds of things. And the United States, in its policies, continues to demonstrate its ignorance regularly. However, there are pockets of this country that are more ignorant than others. And it's not necessarily a reflection of the people who inhabit those areas of the country. They just happen to be governed by morons. Let's count them off. The state of Florida, the state of Arkansas, the state of Texas, for God's sakes. Send prayers, send your thoughts and prayers to all Floridians, to all Arkansans, to all Texans who are out here experiencing the dumbness of their leadership. So guys, COVID is out here jumping on people. And there are, by my count, at least 3. I'm guessing more, though. Jean-Pierre, is this too hard of a Google search? Can you Google how many states have mask mandate bans in place? The state of Florida last week, or yes, 2-3 days ago, the governor of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis, declared that mask mandates will be banned. So individual municipalities, school districts, cannot institute local mask mandates. Mind you, for all of our new COVID cases, 1 out of every 5 new COVID cases is coming from where? Florida. And the governor just said, no, you local officials cannot require people to wear masks indoors as the virus spreads, as school is about to reopen. I wanted to take a look at this package from a local Florida TV station. I believe this is ABC Action News. Ooh, I love those old school giants. ABC Action News. Here's Genevieve with the fact check. What's up, Genevieve? Genevieve says 9 states, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Nevada, New Mexico, New York, and Washington have indoor mask mandates in place. Yes, my darling. Oh, and California too. Yes. But who has said that you cannot wear masks? Florida, Arkansas, and Texas. I'm curious, is there more beyond those 3? And admittedly, gang, this is totally a Google search I should have done before the show started. But I have full faith and confidence in Genevieve, and Genevieve is going to get to the bottom of this. 31 states have orders broadly requiring residents to wear masks in public settings. So I'm curious about who says that you can't wear masks, because I know Arkansas, Florida, and Texas. But let's take a look at Florida, y'all, because Ron DeSantis is clearly out here trying to kill people. He is trying to kill already immunocompromised people, disabled people, whom are more susceptible to getting COVID with the Delta variant, despite the fact that they have been vaccinated. It is the immunocompromised people who are at greater risk for these breakthrough infections and are at greater risk of being hospitalized and dying from COVID, despite the fact that they have been vaccinated. Because, and this is not news. All of the health officials are aware of this. So anyway, I wanted to take a look at this package. ABC Action News from Florida, talking about the Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, banning mask mandates in his state as the Delta variant continues to surge.
DeSantis delivering on his promise today after saying for weeks he was going to prevent mask mandates in Florida schools. And as you'd expect, the reaction has shown the deep divide on this issue.
For weeks, we've heard from teachers who have told us masks are needed.
I work in elementary school, so obviously those kids won't be vaccinated. So it is a concern for me.
And parents who say they'll do more harm than good.
They need to see their teachers' mouths move. They need to see their classmates' mouths move.
Wow, what a crowd.
Friday, Governor Ron DeSantis gave what now looks to be the final word on school masking.
No restrictions and no mandates in the state of Florida.
The Republican announcing a new executive order. It'll direct health and education departments to create rules allowing parents, not schools, to choose whether students mask up.
My wife and I are not going to do the mask with the kids. We never have. I want to see my kids smiling. I want them having fun.
House and Senate leaders immediately praised the order, which flies in the face of at least 2 Florida school districts with mask rules. New CDC guidance also calling for the coverings in class.
I obviously applaud the governor. I'm happy that he did it.
Rep. Anthony Sabatini thinks DeSantis should keep going. He still wants a special lawmaking session to forbid local governments from any kind of mandate.
You know, these giant corporations that are trying to push vaccines on their employees are also somebody that we should be looking to prohibit.
There's plenty of opposition, too. Florida's teachers union saying DeSantis has made clear he, quote, does not respect the freedom of locally elected officials. House Democrats telling us something similar.
It's just such an overreach when we know that it's our local governments who know best what their communities need when it comes to COVID-19.
The question now becomes whether districts or others will challenge the order in court. But time is of the essence as classes resume for many August 10.
Lord have mercy. God help us, y'all. Did you hear that dumbass talking about, I don't want my kids to wear masks? I've never put a mask on my kid. I want to see my kid's mouth move. Nigga, are you crazy? Are you insane? I mean, I'm listening to people whom, to my ears, have complete disregard for the health of their children. Y'all really must think that y'all kids cannot contract this virus. And I'm not quite understanding why and how did they arrive at that conclusion. there is a COVID outbreak everywhere, basically. But the biggest group, or among the biggest group of people contracting this virus, are children too young to be vaccinated. And they're about to head back to schools. Now, what we're going to see coming out of Florida specifically is going to be something pretty interesting, because DeSantis has written this as an executive order, right? And Broward County Public Schools in South Florida have already said that there's going to be a mask mandate, right, instituted. I believe Miami-Dade County school system was supposed to make an announcement today as to whether or not they are going to require all staff and students to be masked indoors. And if I'm not mistaken, hold on today, there's a tweet pertaining to this I'd like for you to pop up, please, my good man. Pop up that C1 for me, bro. This came from Carlos. Carlos is an anchor for NBC6. And Carlos said, this was some breaking news. This was as of a couple of days ago. The governor is threatening to defund school districts that require face masks, according to the executive order. Lord have mercy. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think conservatives or, even Democrats, you think anybody jumped up and down with the hair on fire when the governor threatened to defund schools behind a mask mandate order? Interestingly enough, and this is a sentiment that I saw on social media, that no one blinks an eye when elected officials threaten to defund public schools, because defunding public schools happens all the time. But defunding the police, oh my God, it's so radical. It's such an extremist position. Oh, but fuck the kids, though. The kids don't need books and quality teachers and adequate school buildings and resources. Now we can cut funding to public schools anytime we feel like it, but don't you dare defund the police. You radical socialist hippies. Bunch of communists. I hate it here. Please, to the 20% of the Burn Down with Kim Brown audience that watches from outside the United States, send help. Send a boat. Send a chopper. Send anything. Get us out of here, please. I'm tired of America. But guys, again, not just Florida. We're having some issues other places in terms of these mask mandates. The state of Arkansas is experiencing a huge jump in COVID cases. Let's see. That article today is the KATV one. Now, what's happening in Arkansas is that their governor, Asa Hutchinson, Republican governor, of course, back in April, signed into law, I believe it was Act 1002. Yes, this was passed. And basically, Asa Hutchinson passed this back in April of 2021. There have been demonstrations at the governor's mansion in Little Rock trying to get the governor to rescind this. Now, mind you, the Delta variant is running through Arkansas so badly that Asa Hutchinson has declared a public emergency and has also called for a special session to review Act 1002, which bans masking in public places. And we all know how Greg Abbott is getting down in Texas in the dumbest way possible. Gang, you got to protect your neck out here. I need y'all to be channeling the RZA and the Wu-Tang Clan. When I say protect your neck, I mean protect your neck, and you got to protect the necks of your kids. I am so concerned for your children returning to in-person learning in just a few short weeks. I am so concerned for your kids that are under 12 returning to school in a few short weeks, who have to report in school systems and in states that are so ass backwards when it comes to handling a global pandemic that is nowhere near under control. The United States, I suppose, is doing better than a lot of other places because of the availability of vaccinations. But we still have a lot of stupid fucking people in our country. And I'm not calling you stupid if you didn't get vaccinated. I'm calling you stupid if you didn't get vaccinated and you out here barefaced and you out here not practicing good hygiene. Now, I know some of our people in here have said that they're not getting vaccinated, but they double masking, they sanitizing their hands. Okay, you taking precautions to protect not only yourself and others, but people is out here willy-nilly, fancy free, living their best unmasked lives all around these kids who are being infected with this. And a lot of people, guys, live in multi-generational houses. I don't have to repeat this. The kids get sick, mom and daddy get sick, grandmama gets sick. Let's not play these games. Let us not play these games. And if you, like I suspect you are not out here playing games, as right, you rightfully should, man. I am truly in shock at DeSantis in this mask mandate. And I'm trying to figure out what the long game is. Like, do y'all want y'all own constituents to die? Like, it is most likely conservatives, people who, you know, Trump supporters, whatever, Republicans, who are most vocal, I would say, about their insistence about not getting masks, even though I know there's some Negroes out here too, not getting masks. But people that I guess cater to the Negro community are screaming at Negroes and other non-Black people of color to please go get vaccinated. Some of the conservative white folks is like, well, it's your choice, personal responsibility. And it's like, shit, y'all don't care about y'all people at all. COVID is not over, everybody. And our government is in no way giving us reassurances that they are on the right path to containing this virus. And that also, again, starts at the federal level, too. Who's dropping us money? What's up, Toby? Thank you, darling. Woo! Let's smoke to calm the nerves. These elected me punks. Yes, they do, Toby Spoiler. Thank you so much, darling, for your support. I appreciate that as always, Toby. Listen, why do y'all think I chief weed so much, shorty? And listen, I'd probably do more than weed, except I understand what those harder drugs will do to your life. So I have to hard pass on those. But I don't judge. I don't judge y'all who do smoke the meths and the cracks and shoot the heroins, because life is very difficult. And I understand why sometimes people tap out and tap in to worser things, as my grandmother would say. She called it worser. But the weed is going to keep me calm for now. Hey, gang, while y'all out here, while you're in here, I appreciate you. Thank you all so much. 46 likes, 77 in the chat. Let's get the mathing, ladies and gentlemen, and days. And while you're here, let me just remind you, we are in the middle of our summer fundraiser, and here on NPR, just wanted to know, I mean, we're not NPR, not even fucking close. Howsoever, we need that bread like NPR. So if you haven't already, hit us with some free material support, with a like, with a subscription, or a share. Do us a favor. Oh, also follow us on social media, different places, at BIDWKB on Instagram and Facebook. And we're on Twitter at Burn It Down KB as well. Hit us with some free support. We love that. Likes, follows, we'll take it. But if you got some coins, you got some money burning a hole in your pocket, at BIDWKB on Venmo, $ BIDWKB on Cash App, PayPal.me/BIDWKB, and Patreon.com/BIDWKB. By the way, guys, we are 27% of the way to our $4,300 goal, which is an ambitious goal. I will concede, but we are 27% of the way there. And that can never happen without y'all's continuing support. And I'm grateful and thank you all again. As we move along to the next topic of discussion, it's election day in Ohio, guys. Ohio's 11th congressional district seat is up for grabs. Marsha Fudge got tapped to be the HUD secretary. Congratulations to her, I suppose. Howsoever, we've got two Black women, not one, two Black women vying to replace Marsha Fudge in that Ohio 11 district. Of course, fan favorite over here, Nina Turner. I have disclosed to you all that I am a recurring $10 a month donor to Nina Turner's congressional campaign. I'm all for Nina. Let me just be clear before I get any deeper into this. I like Nina Turner quite a bit. I like her policies. I've met her in person. I find her to be a perfectly charming woman who gets it, right? Let me say, no one is perfect. No one's politics are perfect. And understanding that, I'm still very much a supporter of Nina Turner. I think Nina Turner can shake up in some way the Democratic establishment should she be elected to Congress. And I think that's one of many reasons why the Democratic establishment is working very hard to stop Nina Turner. So I've said that. So let me also say this. Shontel Brown is someone whose politics I am not familiar with. I do not live in Ohio. But if James Clyburn has got her back, then that's probably not somebody who I'm trying to support. So guys, if you have not already voted and you live in that Ohio 11 district, the polls close in 2 hours at 7:30. You've got some time to show up for this primary. It is expected to go down to the wire as there have been millions of dollars poured into this race on both sides. Big difference is Nina Turner's donations overwhelmingly have been coming from small money donors such as myself from across the country and outside of the district. Shontel Brown has been receiving a dumping of PAC money, dark money from outside of Ohio as well, but by super PACs. We don't really know all who have supported Shontel Brown, though we do know some. So I want us to take a look, if we could please, at a package. I love the packages. And mind you, I'm very critical of local news generally, right? But at the same time, they are there and I am not. So that is why we check out these packages. Like, it's interesting to see how certain things are being covered locally where they are. So I want us to take a look. I think this will be B. Wait. Tunde, cue up B2 real quick before we take a look at the package, which is from, I believe, like 3 News, channel 3 News. Fuck that. We're going to take a look at B2 first, Tunde. This is from a pack called Protecting Our Vote Pack. Y'all going to laugh y'all ass off when y'all see this shit. This is an attack ad on Nina Turner, right? Trying to get our Nina. But it's so black. They blacked it up real good. So take a look at this attack ad on Nina Turner from the Protecting Our Vote pack. Y'all gonna laugh.
We are protecting our vote, and we approve this message.
Nina Turner is not a real Democrat. You can't trust her. When she had the chance to endorse Hillary Clinton and help the Democrats beat Donald Trump, she was flirting with Jill Stein. You can't trust her. Nina Turner helped give us 4 years of Donald Trump. You can't trust her. Nina Turner has no respect for anyone, not even our president. She told The Atlantic that supporting Democratic nominee Joe Biden is like eating a bowl of poop.
Ew!
Seriously, sis, really? Is that how you feel? You can't trust her. Nina Turner is all about Nina. She doesn't care about Ohio. She doesn't care about getting things done. All she cares about is making noise. You can't trust her. Ohio, in August, you have a choice to make, and Shontel Brown is the leader you can depend on. You can trust Shontel Brown. Vote Shontel Brown for Congress.
Paid for by Protecting Our Vote PAC. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Y'all, not the public enemy, not the can't trust it playing in the background, like, oh, Negroes. Oh, don't y'all recognize public enemy? Can't trust it. Oh, you can't trust Nina Turner either. Oh my God, y'all. Oh, hold on. My eyes are watering from crying. Good Lord, have mercy. Y'all, the attack ads have been flying in Cuyahoga County and out there in Cleveland, man. It has been a whole hot mess happening out there. So
it's one of those things where like they just keep repeating the same thing over and over again and hope that you get it instilled. You can't trust Nina. You can't trust Nina. Just like they just hope they say it like 20 times and you're just by the end of it you're like, I guess I can't trust her. You're right. It's fucking
here's my thing. But Tunde, she helped get Trump elected by herself. Like, I'm confused. I mean, obviously it's an attack ad, so it's full of, the bullshit, of course, but I mean, you can't trust Nina. She said that Joe Biden was like eating a bowl of shit. Okay, that makes me more on Nina's side because that sounds like truth to me.
Well, it was interesting. I was reading an article earlier today about how she backed she was backing Jill Stein, and they were like really going like hard on that, and it was so confusing because I was like, wait, is Jill Stein running for office or something, or like, if you endorse one candidate, then that means that you take on all of the.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, but don't forget, the liberals were very angry with Jill Stein on election night 2016. Like, they really blamed Jill Stein for siphoning off Democratic votes in tight places like Pennsylvania and Michigan that they think otherwise would have went to Biden, not understanding, or who the fuck was running Hillary, Jesus, not understanding that certain people was never going to vote for Hillary Clinton. It don't matter if they was registered Democrats or not.
Yeah, I'm sure if you take a look at that congressional district, I'm pretty sure you're not going to find a whole lot of Hillary Clinton support there. So it's confusing, like, why that's their method. Like, you're trying to win over the people you already have. Like, you already got those people. Why are you? Anyway.
Gosh, these people are so bad. But anyway, guys, so Tunde, that 3 News clip is actually a little insightful. I would call it, it's investigative journalism. I'd say 102. But they, dug in the FEC reports and found out where some of this dark money, this PAC money, was coming from, or coming into Ohio's 11th congressional district from. And it's very interesting. I found it, and I think you guys will find it interesting too. This is from 3 News in Cleveland.
You have no doubt seen the attacks and TV ads from both sides. So how do you know what's true and what's not? 3 News investigator Rachel Polanski is fact-checking for us tonight.
On council, Brown voted to give more than $32 million in taxpayer contracts to a company connected to her boyfriend and family.
We rank this as partially true. I pulled Cuyahoga County Council voting records from 2017 and 2020. In both cases, Shontel Brown was one of 11 council members who unanimously voted to award a $7 million contract and a $3 million contract to the Perk Company for resurfacing roads in Greater Cleveland. In 2014, when Brown was running for council, she accepted a large campaign donation from Mark Perkins, who she was engaged to at the time. Cleveland.com reported that she said if she were elected, she would recuse herself from county contracts with ties to Mark Perkins. We rank this as partially true because Brown did not recuse herself from those contracts. However, we could not verify the $32 million amount.
She even voted to give herself a $7,000 pay raise.
We rank this one as true. In 2016, Cuyahoga County Council members voted 7-4 to raise council's salaries by 15.5%, or $7,000, from $45,000 a year to $52,000 a year. And on the other side of the aisle, we had a hard time finding ads in which Shontel Brown's campaign openly attacked Nina Turner's campaign. We did, however, find a pro-Israel PAC called Democratic Majority for Israel spending a lot of money to support Brown and oppose Turner. We also found ads like this one from thirdway.org.
In 2020, she trashed Joe Biden.
You got 2 bowls of front of you.
We rank this as true. At the time, Turner was working on the Bernie Sanders campaign, and she was talking about Sanders voters choosing between President Biden or President Trump. She was also quoted in The Atlantic, saying, "You have a bowl of in front of you, and all you've got to do is eat half of it instead of the whole thing. It's still."
So what's Nina Turner really up to?
Nina Turner is running as a Democrat, but really is not a Democrat.
We rank this as false. While Nina Turner is progressive, campaigning recently with former NAACP President Ben Jealous and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she is, of course, a registered Democrat. This ad attempts to paint her as someone who does not support the party agenda.
Something else I want to point out, at the end of these ads, look for this line, paid for by. That's where you can tell if this ad was paid for by the candidate's campaign or by a PAC. In this case, it was paid for by the DMFI PAC. Rachel Polanski, 3 News.
Yeah, that was a quality piece of local reporting there from 3 News in Cleveland. To Rachel Polanski, well done, my darling. Yeah, guys, the Zionist pro-Israeli PACs are supporting Nina Turner's opponent. Shocker, right? We all know where Nina stands on the issues, especially pertaining to Palestine, pertaining to U.S. imperialism. Nina is on the right side of a whole lot of shit, okay? This is why I support Nina Turner. Now, I saw some people were mad that Nina Turner didn't show up at the latest Medicare for All rally. If you niggas don't get the whole fuck out of here with that crying shit, if y'all could count how many Medicare for All rallies Nina Turner has appeared at, has spoken at, has rallied at, right? Like, come on. We not playing the perfect attendance game, kids, okay? we are not going to be disingenuous about what side of the aisle or what side of the issue Nina Turner's on when it comes to all the shit that we care about. All right. She's on the right side of a lot of shit. All the shit that we care about. Let me assure you, her opponent is not. And here's proof positive that her opponent is against a lot of the things that we stand for, right? By, you can tell the character of a person by the company that they keep. And over the weekend, a lot of people showed up in Cleveland to stump for their respective candidates. One of those people was the third most powerful Democrat in the House. His name is Jim Clyburn. And Jim Clyburn went on Don Lemon's show on CNN. Now, y'all know I don't watch CNN, but I saw a clip of this and I said, oh, this is interesting of sorts. Today, if we could please, can we take a look at that CNN clip? And this is going to be Don Lemon asking Jim Clyburn about this Ohio 11 race. And Jim Clyburn is going to list the reasons why he supports Shontel Brown.
This really contentious primary going on in Ohio for Marcia Fudge's House seat. You're supporting Shontel Brown, but progressives are backing Nina Turner. Millions of dollars are being spent. Lots of attack ads, name calling. What do you think this outcome will mean for the direction of the party?
Well, it all depends upon what the results will be. I'm a great believer that we must do everything we can to elevate the political discourse in this country. We just had a president who lowered that discourse to a level unimaginable. We cannot have legislating by sound bites. And I have been a big believer that we should be working on trying to make headway for the American people. But there seem to be people who are more interested in what the headline is, more interested in gotcha politics. And so I've been supporting Shontel because Shontel asked me to support her. Shontel is the kind of person that I think will help elevate the political discourse in this country. She is a big supporter of Joe Biden, and I have worked with her for about 10 years on Marcia Fudge's various events, and I think she will make an outstanding congressperson. And I do believe that, as my dad used to tell me all the time, the first sign of a good education is good manners. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing everything I possibly can to help people get elected to office who can bring that kind of attitude to the political discourse.
You're right about that. My parents used to say that as well. I forgot about that saying. And boy, we could a certain group in this country now could sure use some good manners.
Sorry. That respectability bullshit. If you don't get the whole fuck out of here, Don Lemon and Jim Clyburn, the first sign of a good education is good manners. Dog, I don't want to hear that shit. You know how many educated black people got lynched and hung from trees and got fucked up by the cops? I don't want to hear that shit. You say that respectability shit for the CBC annual Phoenix Award dinner, Jim Clyburn, and we don't want to hear that shit in the year of our Lord 2021. It's a little early, but I want to bring our guest on, Chuck Modiano, justice journalist, independent journalist, all around kick-ass man out here in these streets covering this movement, is joining us today from Washington, D.C. Chuck, thank you so much for making some time. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for being here. You know why I come on this show? Because of your good manners.
Listen, Chuck. Listen. Obviously, we want to talk about Cori Bush's protest on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, of course, that you covered. But I want us to stay here, if we could, at this Ohio 11 race, because I know you've been watching it as well, and I'm sure you have some opinions to weigh in on this.
Yeah.
So when Jim Clyburn is asked about, the future of the Democratic Party should Nina Turner win, and then goes on to talk about manners and you can't legislate by slogans. I mean, that's a direct shot at obviously defund the police and Medicare for all, et cetera.
Yeah.
Let me get your take about looking at this race as I am from the outside and seeing the kind of race that Nina has won, the kind of support that she has had, and now seeing Shontel Brown really seemingly pick up some speed. She seemingly has the momentum coming into this election day. And I think it's going to be a tight one, Chuck. What do you think?
I think you're right. And I mean, isn't the manners comment and just an extension of Joe Biden, where you have personality versus policy? It's the same exact dynamic. So, you know, a lot of people said Joe Biden is going to bring dignity back to the White House, normalcy, and be decent while he bombs Syria, while he supports the bombing of Palestinians, while 11 million, up to 11 million people might be evicted. So I think what we're talking about is this continuation of some people are talking about interpersonal manners and others are talking about policy and violence. And when we're talking about policy and violence, it's very simple with Nina Turner. During a pandemic and during an epic housing crisis with so many millions of evictions before us, do you support housing for all? Do you support Medicare for all? Or do you not? Forget all this gossip stuff you see on social media, which just sounds like some high school back and forth stuff. I want to know how you can help lives. And if you believe Nina Turner's policies can help more lives, then you vote for Nina Turner. If you don't, then don't. But that's a serious adult discussion at a time of crisis.
That's right. That's right, Chuck. And you know what? Obviously, I'm pulling for Nina to win. She is who I hope wins that congressional seat. I think her voice is sorely needed. You know, whatever people's opinions may be about the squad, if the squad were to turn into a squadron, then, you know, maybe some things could actually change and get done. And the only way that's going to shift is a numbers game to get more of our people elected, even though electoral politics surely cannot be our only strategy. But we are totally in agreement about that. But here's what I'm worried about, Chuck. So given like what we've seen happen to India Walton in Buffalo, where she won the Democratic primary and now her opponent, the current mayor, the outgoing mayor, you would think, is now mounting a write-in campaign against her. There's been talk on the city council in Buffalo to even remove the office of the mayor, which I think is a direct response to India Walton as a socialist, as a Black woman, winning that primary. And I'm worried that if Nina wins tonight, I'm worried that the establishment Democrats are going to do something similar. They're going to stage a write-in campaign against her in the fall, in November. And this seat is actually up for the midterm reelection. So whomever wins the Ohio 11 seat in November, but, you know, today the Democratic primary, whoever wins is going to have to rerun for this seat next year. And I'm afraid that if Nina wins, she's just going to be fending off challenges in November and then the following year from possibly Shontel Brown or another person that the establishment decides to prop up and run against her. Do you think it is stop Nina at all costs, even if she wins tonight?
I mean, of course it is. Of course it is. This is how the establishment operates. We have a history of that, and that includes often corporate media. So I expect nothing less. I go in expecting that.
Chuck, I mean, I know you are a media critic in addition to being an independent journalist. And I know that you watch the cable news, if nothing else, because you like pulling your hair out. I'm not really sure why you do it, but you like being angry, I suppose. How has the coverage been of this race? Has it been, you know, balanced, if this such a word exists?
I'm going to be honest with you. Normally, I do watch a lot of political coverage, but I have been in the streets in D.C. almost nonstop the last few weeks. So I am probably as uninformed of the Ohio race, much more than I would normally, because we've had a big protest scene here. And then in more recent days, I've been out at the Capitol covering Cori Bush and others come down and interviewing people. So I'm not as informed as you'd like to answer the question. But my history is CNN and MSNBC has never been kind to independent candidates who do not get corporate money. That's fact. We saw that with Bernie. We saw that with others. We saw the love fest with Joe Biden not putting out his actual record. So I didn't see it, but I know history.
Well, let me end this segment on this note, guys. It's going to come down to the wire for Nina Turner, and her fight is not going to be over, even if she wins tonight. So be watching that. The Intercept, we have a couple articles about this today. The Intercept did a piece about how a lot of GOP donors have been pouring money into Shontel Brown's campaign or been supporting super PACs that support her. And in addition, Shontel Brown is going to possibly be under an ethics investigation stemming from the allegations that we saw in that package from 3 News in Cleveland from an attack ad, I don't think run by Nina Turner's campaign, but probably a PAC supporting Nina Turner, alleging that Shontel Brown helped to steer money to a developer who was her then fiance. She is actually going to face an ethics investigation behind that. So that is a legitimate thing. So guys, I just wanted y'all to be aware of that and just be aware of that and wish Nina the best of luck tonight. But I want us to move on because Chuck, the reason you're here is because, as you said, you have been out here in these streets covering a variety of different protests. Your work down on U Street regarding Nelly's Bar, I was so appreciative that you were there. And maybe we can have you back on to talk about that because I think that's very important. DC showed up in defense of a Black woman who was assaulted by a security officer at a bar, and protesters have shut that bitch down. It has been shut down, and it's been by people power only. But Chuck, the past couple of nights, over the weekend at the U.S. Capitol, Cori Bush and other members of the squad were there sleeping on the steps of the Capitol to bring attention to the fact that the moratorium by the federal government banning evictions during this COVID-19 crisis pandemic expired, and it was not extended. And Tunde, actually, I want us to take a listen to Chuck again. Outstanding work, phenomenal work that you have been putting in down at the Capitol, not only talking to these elected officials, but talking to regular people as well. And that's where I want us to go. I want us to hear the regular bruh. I like to hear the regular people first, Chuck Modiano.
Come on, you got come on?
Wait. I'm not sure. We got A1, Tunde. A1.
Give it to me and I'll let you know.
A1.
2008, what we saw was an unequivocal commitment to Wall Street bankers, despite the fact that what they were experiencing came on the back end of their greed, to the tune of several hundreds of billions of dollars. We saw the United States say, you know what, they're too big to fail. But yet we are now amidst a record pandemic that has seen the unhoused be challenged in ways they haven't before, that have seen people that were regularly housed before now not be able to afford their rent. And when it's time for us to come and to give them a hand up, that hand up isn't there. As the young man remarked, we have lawmakers who are headed to their second houses while people are struggling to stay in their first and only houses, while there are people out here who are unhoused and have unmet needs. And so, like I said, it's not enough for us to have the majority, for us to have the House and the Senate, and to not use that majority to actuate change. And so we're out here standing up with Cori Bush, with, I believe, Jamal Bowman is out here as well, and just several other concerned citizens who say that enough is enough, man. You know, it's not enough for us to go and elect a new administration to be facing the same problems. And so we're just out here just hoping that things could change, man.
Excellent perspective from that young man there, Chuck. Obviously, you know, young people are paying attention, right? They remember 2008. They remember how Wall Street and all the banks got all the help, all the, you know, too big to fail, right? Well, the American people are in that same need right now. Tell us about what you saw out there at the Capitol. How many people turned out, and what was the reaction to Cori Bush and her supporters for this protest, for this action?
So it depends on the time. And first of all, that's Ty Hobson Powell. Shout out to him because he just became a father for the first time this month. So I saw his baby and I just got to show some love there. That said, and we've done many interviews in the streets. That said, it was interesting. I was coming back Friday from a Nelly's protest, right? And I'm about to go home. It's like a midnight. And I see a tweet from Cori Bush. I'm going to sleep out at the Capitol. And I said, you know what? Let me just go by the Capitol before going home. Let me see what's going on there. And I go there, and about 20 other people show up, and also Congressman Ilhan Omar, Congressman Ayanna Pressley. in a very small environment, everyone who was there just saw the tweet. So there weren't not a lot of people around. So you had this opportunity in those first few hours, and I was the only journalist around, to get a sense of what's going on. So I stayed up to from midnight to noon. Basically, Ilhan Omar stayed up the whole night, to engaging young people. There was a couple of critics there. There was dialogue. I got to tell you, I put my cam down for some of the richest dialogue that you would ever see, but it wouldn't have been rich if I didn't put my cam down, and I did that out of respect. But it was very informative along the way. And then as the morning came, then you got the big cameras and you started to get more people that were going on. But essentially, Cori just put out a tweet and others joined. Even Congressman Omar and Ayanna Pressley didn't know about it. They saw the tweet and they came in solidarity. That's how it started, and it's been going on for a few days since then. And you're seeing a lot of people stop down by the Capitol.
So just to be clear, I mean, you said that this was just spur of the moment, just a tweet. This was not an action planned in advance. Is this something that Cori came up with the day of, or was she looking at, Nancy Pelosi and the Congressional leadership's failure to act or, bring about some sort of action to extend the moratorium? Was she like, okay, this doesn't happen by the day of the expiring moratorium, then I'm going to do this? Or was that like a same day, like a game time decision that Cori Bush made?
Well, I believe it was. And a lot of people will say, Chuck, you are the most naive person in the world. Don't you see the stunt coming? I mean, I'm getting ripped. I have to tell you, I'm getting ripped. And I understand anger towards members of the squad. I get it. Certain members, because like most recently, an aid package to Israel was voted on by a 217 to 212 to continue 3.3 billion in aid. And, you'd be surprised at some of the members that you would never think would vote for it if 3 flipped. You know what? It would have gone the other way. I understand the anger of them not voting as a block. I share that anger. Sometimes these votes, my heart was broken. Now, in that vote, AOC and Cori and Rashida Tlaib voted against the package to Israel. So I want to put that out there, that critics have every reason to believe, if they believe the stunt. I don't believe the stunt, and here's why. I have covered Cori, not Cori Bush, the congresswoman. I covered Cori Bush, the activist in Ferguson. I interviewed her in 2014 in front of a police lineup, okay? I interviewed her in the Jason Stockley protest, which a lot of people don't know about, which went on 40 days against killer cop murderer Jason Stockley in 2017. So I have a history, and I've seen her act. And her putting out a tweet and say, I'm going to go on the steps, is consistent with what I've seen prior. I get why someone else would be skeptic. Chuck, you're a fool. I get it. I'm telling you that's my belief. Also, when I factor in not just her activism, but also that she was personally homeless and can detail to you her homelessness. And then when I factor in that she has gone on the Senate floor, not just voted against the Israel package, but gave one of the most progressive speeches in the third rail of politics, which is Palestinian lives and connected to people in Ferguson. When I factor these factors in and I put them all together, this is after she's elected. And you get death threats when you do that. And I'm aware of the death threats, and I'm aware of the hate, not just from Republicans, but from Democrats too. I'm not trying to pile on. I believe she put out the tweet and said, let me see what's going to happen. And we could all talk about all the things that maybe could have been done in the last month, prior to that tweet, that could have been done better, and they're legitimate critiques. But I'm asked this question, and I want to give people maybe a background of why I feel that way. That maybe they're not aware of Cori Bush pre-Congresswoman.
Hey, well, let's help them be so aware, Chuck Modiano, because you were on the ground in Ferguson following the murder of Mike Brown. You were there when people were getting gassed and beaten and fucked up and activists disappearing, and the shit was nuts in Ferguson and in St. Louis County. And gratefully, you have a lot of this footage, and you pinned on your Twitter page an interview that you did with Cori Bush years ago in Ferguson, before she even contemplated a run for Congress, just when she was out there getting gassed and getting fucked up, just like everybody else. Tunde, can we take a look at A4? Chuck, what year is this from?
This is 2017. It's the Jason Stockley protests who murdered Anthony Lamar Smith. And all the people gathered at the Justice Center. And the night before, people were arrested. And when people were arrested, wrongly arrested, a bunch of people came out and said, not in our watch. No CNN there. No MSNBC there. No big cameras there. Maybe a local one. The Jason Stockley protest went 40 straight days and was blacked out in national media. People in St. Louis are shocked that people in the world don't know about it. Everyone was talking about Trump TV. And then I interviewed Cori that day, as I interviewed her many times before. I was able to find this video. So what I was trying to communicate to people is, if you listen to the language, it sounds almost identical if you listen to her interviews now. So I'm of the belief you analyze the situation and then you come to your conclusion, as opposed to say all politicians are, just faking it, or as they say, fraud. It's not my opinion, but go ahead.
No, we needed that introduction. So yeah, Tunde, if we could please take a look at A4. This is Chuck Modiano interviewing Cori Bush, activist Cori Bush in Ferguson in 2017. You guys take a look.
Pastor Cori, could you tell me why you and everybody came out here in front of the Justice Center today?
We had to come out here because we leave no one behind. Last night, there was an egregious act on our people. And we want to make sure that everybody knows that we won't stand for it. We're not going to just allow people to get snatched up, pulled back, tossed, beat, and mistreated, and we go lay down. Like, we don't have an agenda that says that we have to stick to this or stick to that. You mess with our folks, we're coming. And so that's what we did. They said we had about 50 people still left up in here, but even if it was one, we would have came. So because we've been able to draw the masses, we said, well, you know what? The masses need to come to where the people are, and the people are in this injustice center. And so we came to stand up for our folks, and we are out here in the rain. As you see, I'm wet. I got my weave wet, so I'm really pissed off. And so, but I'm willing to get my weave wet to stand out here for my folks, because that's what we're supposed to do. We are one.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes.
Outstanding interview there, Chuck. 2017, Cori Bush, y'all, in Ferguson, showing up for the folks, as she has, from my view, she's doing that right now. And I'm with you, Chuck. I mean, I understand what political stunts are, and I too, I think, I won't say offended, but I'm just in disagreement with people who are like, oh, this is such a performance, this is performative. Let me say this, y'all. Cori Bush is a freshman congressman, okay? Cori Bush has no juice on Capitol Hill. Let me say that one more time. She don't have no juice, okay? Like, her mere presence is already a disturbance to the force. You feel me? Like, they don't want her there. The people in her party don't really want her there. Exactly. They hate her. Part of the reason why she is even a threat, or any sort of threat, is because she's going to stand up and say something. The person whose seat that she took, Lacey Clay, wasn't going to say shit about the eviction moratorium not being extended. And that's why they don't like Cori. That's why they don't like Nina, because at minimum, these Black women are going to call it what it is and say it to their face. And I want to circle back, Chuck, because again, you did some amazing work. Tunde, if you can find that Ayanna Pressley interview that Chuck did, I can try to find the number. But when you asked Ayanna Pressley about this very specific criticism that she and Cori and other members of the squad are receiving regarding why are y'all sleeping on the steps of the Capitol when Congress was in session, y'all could have been doing this, you could have been doing that. I think all very fair and valid criticisms, but I appreciated what Congresswoman Pressley had to say to you in response to that. So Tunde, if we could take a look at that Ayanna Pressley clip. And wait, when did you talk to her, Chuck? Was this like a day or two ago?
I talked to her both Friday night. I didn't even put it, that video was going so fast. This was on Saturday. This one's on Saturday.
From Saturday,
in the last 24 hours, the number one question that I've gotten is,
Why today? Why not a month ago? Why not earlier? What is your response when you hear that?
Yeah, well, actually, myself and my colleagues that are here and many other progressive colleagues, we've been fighting this fight since January. So this is actually like incremental, like escalating activism, okay? We've written the bills. In fact, I led the letter to get the first extension of the eviction moratorium. So every lever available to us, from legislating, from lobbying our colleagues, to lobbying the White House directly in phone calls and in letters, we have been successful in getting this most recent extension. So that's why we're remaining vigilant in our efforts, because the point is, families have run out of options, but those in power and government, we have not. So we still have tools at our disposal to leverage. So we are not here to keep a spotlight on ourselves. We are here to keep a spotlight on and to censor 7 to 11 million vulnerable families who would then be added on to what is already a crisis of the unhoused in the midst of a pandemic, no less. So the options that are still on the table at this point is the Senate is still in session, and they can extend this eviction moratorium. The House can reconvene, and we can pass Chairwoman Waters' emergency bill to extend the eviction moratorium. And then finally, before midnight, the White House and the CDC can unilaterally act together. So when people have said, but what about the courts, what about the courts? Even if they just challenge that injunction, even if they just go ahead and just move for the extension, it still is going to buy time. And that's what these families need and desperately deserve. So,
I mean, millions of people are at risk of being evicted right now because this moratorium has not been extended, Chuck. And, you know, for all the criticism that is being levied against Cori Bush, Ayanna Pressley, members of the squad, for not doing something, for making this stunt, I need to hear all that same smoke for Nancy Pelosi, for the Biden White House, because, again, this moratorium would be a thing if Pelosi had the political will to want to make it happen. If Joe Biden had the political will to want to make it happen. In a series of tweets, Nancy Pelosi went from blaming the Republicans for the eviction moratorium not being extended to the CDC. And it's like, well, nigga, in the CDC, in the Biden administration, I mean, do what Trump did. Tell them people what to say. You know, just make it happen. Why do you think that the squad is bearing so much of the brunt of the blame for this, when these are all, for all intents and purposes, you know, political neophytes? Like, these are not people who can have the leverage to be twisting arms on Capitol Hill to try to wheel and deal for something that is not popular even amongst their party.
So I think a lot of the blame, there's some legitimacy and there's some illegitimacy. Both are true. The legitimacy is we're in a place where we're in such a terrible situation. We don't believe in Republicans. We certainly don't believe in Joe Biden. We don't believe in Nancy Pelosi. We understand their history. We know who they are. And when you know who someone is, you just forget them. Like, they're that corrupt that they're not going to do anything. They're corporate bought. And you got this last hope, this last ditch effort. A handful of corporate independent Congress people, if they vote as a bloc, can do something. And I think whether it's what I talked about earlier about Israel or what we often hear, force the vote, that is where a lot of this starts. Okay, so that's the legitimate part, and there are legit critiques on that. Then it gets not legitimate. What you said, that the brunt of saving the republic and the brunt of the criticism of saving the republic is going to fall on a handful of the most progressive Black women and women of color, and they're going to be a receptacle for this hate. I have a problem with that in itself. I can multitask. I was actually called a liberal a few times in the last couple of days. A liberal, me. I mean, are you serious? So I've been called a liberal because I was trying to bring some nuance to the situation. And some of that nuance that's problematic. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean. There's something from critics. Here's where it gets unfair, called the fraud squad. It's a hashtag. You've seen it. When you call someone a fraud squad, you're imputing their character. You're imputing what they think. So like when Donald Trump says fake news, now you don't have to listen or have any discussion because all of the information is fake. and you poison the source. I'm against that. And I can't help noticing when Bernie Sanders, and I supported Bernie Sanders, when he capitulates to Biden, I don't know if you saw a Crystal Ball interview, he was capitulating and backing Biden. It was hard to watch. When he capitulates, they might say, forget Bernie, I'm no longer with Bernie, he's not the man he used to be, but they don't call him a fraud. They don't generally impugn his character and say he's fake. And I have a problem, and I got to note that distinction when we're dealing with black women and women of color, and I see a bit of a different reaction even when in the criticism. So I can honor your factual criticism. So what I would like to see is let's continue the critiques because we have to hold politicians accountable, but let's do it in a fair way. Let's do it in a way where everybody gets some and not target those who literally get death threats every single day, both from the right wing and by Democrats. We have to be a little bit better. I can make a fact-based argument on votes and do that. But let it be fact-based. Let me not call someone a fraud. I have enough facts on my side that I don't need to call someone dishonest. Because when you do that, now you refuse a rebuttal and you refuse a counter conversation, and that's unfair. And I get it. There are 11 million people who are about to be evicted, and when that happens, your anger is going to go wherever you think there's a possible solution. So I get that. Both can be true. We can have that anger and do it better. And that's not about being nice, because people say, oh, you got to be nice. No, you have to be smart. You have to be accurate. So I'm going to be accurate. And I'm not going to, if two people vote different on an issue, I'm not going to lump the squad together as if they're one entity. When two people voted, I don't even like the word the squad because it lumps everyone together. It's a squad. Well, Cori Bush voted against the Israel bill, okay, and others voted for it. So I'm going to lump them together and just put everyone in the same box. I don't think that's fair. I think you have to have analysis.
Chuck, we unfortunately have run out of time. But I want to thank you, first of all, for your work that you do showing up in the streets of DC for all protests, big and small. I mean, you don't just show up for the big popular social media joints. No, you were out there bringing attention to stuff that people otherwise would not see, like the Nelly's demonstration. I appreciate that. But thank you very much for recognizing the very unique misogyn wall, the fucking bullshit reserved exclusively for Black women of color, but especially Black women, the levels of vitriol reserved specifically for Black women, that I'm sorry, I just don't see Dianne Feinstein and Kirsten Sinema receiving it to that level. I see people complaining, oh, why won't Feinstein and Pelosi and Sinema do? No, not the same way that they got it for Ayanna Pressley and Ilhan Omar and Cori Bush and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So thank you very much for recognizing that and for highlighting that and for pointing out the fact that these women receive death threats on a regular. Because I'm telling you, Chuck, when I saw and was seeing the coverage of the protests on the Capitol steps, I was very concerned for Cori Bush because there's crazy motherfuckers out here, right? And the white supremacists have shown that they are not afraid to come to Chocolate City and start some shit. And for her to disclose her location, that she was out there basically on her own, even though other people were there, but she's not out there with no security, anything like that. I understand that. That is extremely brave for her to put literally her body out there on the line, knowing the kind of threats that are being made to her constantly. So thank you very much for acknowledging that. And you guys, you have to follow Chuck Modiano on Twitter. It is the best follow decision you will make at Chuck Modi1, number 1. Chuck, thank you. Thank you so much for making some time to come on the show. Thank you so much for covering these protests. And I got to have you back on soon because I want to talk about Nelly's, the Nelly's protests as well, because I think that is an amazing way that DC is standing up for Black women.
Week 7. 7th week. What's going on the 8th week?
That's amazing. That's amazing. We're going to have you back on soon. You guys, Chuck Modiano, justice journalist. Follow Chuck on social media. Drop Chuck some coins out here if you're able. He's got his cash information on his social media page, his Twitter page, at Chuck Modi, the number 1. Thank you very much, Chuck. I love you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Kim, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Guys, we got to bounce because Today said he got better shit to do. So thank you all so much for a very engaging discussion in the chat. I'm glad that everybody, you know what, y'all, we are all not going to be in agreement on this issue. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is going to see this a different way. But I tell you one thing, something is better than nothing. And I know that at the same time, something is better than nothing. We need to stop accepting crumbs and actually get something big and tangible that is going to, save people from being evicted, from being forced out on the streets in just a few short weeks. They're actually ongoing right now. But anyway, we got to go. And this is a great conversation. I thank you all so much for your support. You guys, week 2 of our fundraiser. If you're able to, shout out to DJ Vesper. Thank you, Vesper X. Thank you so much for your Venmo donation. You guys, Patreon, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. We're in week 2 and we will be done begging for money on Friday. So just a heads up. But thank you all so much for a great show. We will see y'all on Friday. See y'all later. Bye-bye.